All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. I am so pumped for this one. Today, we're going to be like digging into financial freedom.
Ooh,
We're
yeah.
going to be looking at the book, The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape,
Oh, yeah.
and also a podcast episode we listened to about it,
Nice.
and really like kind of picking out the best parts of
The
it.
nitty-gritty, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
actionable steps.
exactly. Like, how can we actually use this information?
Yeah, how can we like take control of our own finances and like live life on our own terms?
Yes, exactly. Not just about getting rich or whatever, but about having control and freedom.
Financial freedom.
Yes.
That's the goal. All right, so
Let's dive in.
let's do it. So one of the things that Pape talks about in the book is this idea that like people struggle with money not because they're like,
Not because they're stupid.
yeah, not because they're like not intelligent,
Right.
but because they don't have a good system.
Exactly. He
Right.
simplifies it.
Yeah.
He really breaks it down and makes it accessible to everyone.
Yeah. And like a lot of the financial advice out there is like so complicated,
Yeah, it's so much jargon.
you need like a dictionary to understand it.
Yeah, you need like a finance degree.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so like his whole approach is like making it really simple and actionable,
Actionable, yeah.
which I love.
And it's relatable too. Like he uses these analogies that you can really grasp.
Yeah, like the one that really stuck with me was this whole bucket strategy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Tell us about the buckets.
Okay, so imagine you have like these different buckets
Okay.
and you divide your income into these buckets. So you've got a bucket for like your daily expenses, like your bills and your groceries.
Right.
Then you've got a bucket for your short-term savings, like for emergencies, or maybe you're saving up for vacation.
Okay.
And then you've got a bucket for like long-term wealth building, like investments.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the important part. You have a bucket for fun money.
Yes.
You need to enjoy life.
Exactly. Like that is so key because so much of the time when people are thinking about finances, it's all about like cutting back and restricting yourself.
Deprivation.
Yeah. And it just makes you feel like crap, you
Yeah.
know?
It's not sustainable.
Exactly.
And so this idea of having that fun money bucket is like, it takes the guilt out of enjoying yourself.
Yeah, it's like built into the system.
Exactly. You're allowed to have fun. You're meant to have fun.
Exactly.
And you can budget for it.
Yes. And so like how do you actually like determine like what percentage of your income goes into each bucket?
So yeah, Pape gives some guidelines. Like a good starting point is like 60% for your daily expenses,
Okay.
10% for short-term savings, 10% for long-term investments, and then 20% for fun.
Okay.
But of course, you can adjust these percentages based on your own goals and circumstances.
Right. So if you're like really trying to pay down debt or something,
Yeah.
you might.
You might want to bump up that savings bucket.
Yeah.
And or if you're like really close to retirement, you might want to put more into investments.
Yeah.
So it's all about like customizing it to your own needs.
Yeah. It's not like a one-size-fits-all thing.
Exactly.
It's a framework.
Yes.
Okay. So once you've got these buckets set up, then how do you like keep the money flowing into the right places?
Automation, baby.
Automation. I love it and I hate it.
I know it can be a little scary at first,
Yeah, it's like giving up control a little bit.
but it's actually about taking control.
Okay. How so?
Because you're setting up these systems that are going to like do the work for you. So you're not having to like think about it every single month.
Right.
Like you set up automatic transfers for your bills,
Mm-hmm.
for your savings contributions, for your investments,
Okay.
and it just like happens in the background.
So it's like you're paying yourself first, basically.
Exactly. You're prioritizing your financial goals
Yeah.
and you're taking the emotion out of it.
Okay. That's a good point because a lot of the time, like we spend money based on how we're feeling that day.
Yes. Impulses.
Yeah. And so this like takes that out of the equation.
Yeah, exactly. You're like being proactive instead of reactive.
I like that.
But I will say one thing about automation.
What's that?
Don't just set it and forget it.
Oh, okay.
You still need to like review your systems regularly.
Right.
Make sure that those transfers are still aligned with your goals because like your life changes, your goals might change.
Right.
So you need to make sure that your automation is still working for you.
It's like a car. You got to take it in for maintenance sometimes.
Exactly.
Okay. So automation, good, but keep an eye on it.
Yes.
And speaking of like staying engaged with your finances,
Mm-hmm.
Pape has this really interesting idea that I loved.
Oh, yeah.
Date night rule.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
So this is brilliant because like a lot of couples or even individuals avoid having those money conversations.
Oh, yeah. It's like the big elephant in the room.
It can be so stressful.
Yeah.
And so Pape suggests that like once a month you have a money date night.
Okay.
where you like go out for dinner or do something fun and you talk about your finances, but in like a relaxed, enjoyable atmosphere.
So it's not like this like serious sit-down meeting.
No, it's like a date.
Yeah.
You're connecting, you're communicating, you're enjoying each other's company.
And you're talking about money.
And you're talking about money.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it just changes the whole dynamic.
Okay, I love that.
And it makes you more likely to actually stick to your financial goals.
Yeah, because you're both on the same page.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
All right, so money date night once a month.
I love it.
Put it on the calendar.
Yes.
Now let's talk about something that can be a real struggle for a lot of people, debt.
Ooh, the dreaded D word.
Yeah, Pape has this method for tackling debt that I thought was really interesting, the domino method.
Yes, the domino method is all about building momentum.
Okay.
So instead of like looking at this huge mountain of debt,
Right, which can be overwhelming.
so overwhelming, you just want to like bury your head in the sand.
Yeah.
You focus on paying off your smallest debt first,
Okay.
even if it has a lower interest rate. You just like attack that smallest debt with everything you've got.
Okay.
And once that's paid off, you take the money that you were paying towards that debt and you roll it into the next smallest debt,
Okay.
and so on and so forth.
So it's like a snowball effect.
Exactly. It's like a domino effect.
Dominoes falling.
Yes. And it just gives you that sense of accomplishment and motivates you to keep going.
So it's like a psychological thing as well.
Absolutely, because like each time you pay off a debt, you're like, yes.
Yeah, you get a little win.
You get a win and it keeps you going.
But what about like debts with different interest rates? Like, should you always prioritize the smallest debt, even if it has a lower interest rate?
That's a good question. So while you're focusing on knocking down that smallest debt, make sure you're at least making the minimum payments on your other debts.
Okay.
Especially the ones with higher interest rates.
Right.
Because you don't want to be racking up a ton of interest.
Right.
But once that smaller debt is gone, you can really like throw everything you've got at those higher interest debts.
Gotcha. So it's like a combination of strategy and psychology.
Exactly.
You're getting those wins.
Yes.
But you're also being smart about it.
Exactly.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. All right. So I think one of the biggest takeaways from the Barefoot Investor and the podcast episode is this idea that financial freedom is not about being a millionaire.
Right. It's not about like the number in your bank account.
Yeah, it's about having control.
Control, yes.
It's about making conscious choices with your money.
Yeah, and not feeling like you're a slave to your paycheck.
Exactly, like living life on your own terms.
Yes.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a question.
Okay, hit me.
What's one small step that you can take today,
Ooh.
inspired by the Barefoot Investor,
Okay.
to gain more control over your finances?
I love it.
Maybe it's setting up a budget.
Yeah.
Maybe it's automating a savings transfer.
Maybe it's planning a money date night.
Ooh, yes.
Get romantic with your finances. Exactly. Whatever it is, just take that first step.
Yes. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
That's right. Thanks for diving deep with us, everybody.
See you next time.
Bye.